Hello, this is Mr. Evilcheese, and this is my video of the top 5 worst Star Wars 6-inch Black Series figures. Now don't get me wrong, I really love the 6-inch Black Series figures. I was so happy when they started making them because I quit getting the 3 3/4 scale figures a long time ago. I just had no interest in them, they're just too small. And I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with them for other people because they have their advantages, like they make just about every character. It's a lot easier to get the vehicles at a more reasonable price, and they actually make the vehicles. There's only a few they made for the Black Series, and those are some of the advantages. I just don't like the scale, but I really like these. Like that first series when it came out, I'm like, these look awesome. Amazing articulation, amazing sculpt detail. I like the accessories, so I love them. Hahowever, as the series progressed, some of the figures just didn't turn out that great. For the most part, I love the series, but yeah, there's a few that I have got issues with. These are going to be the top 5 figures that I hate the most. Well, and hate's kind of a strong word. It's not that I hate them, they bother me and I think they could be a lot better. Okay, so here's the first one. So at number 5 I got A New Hope, Luke Skywalker, or Farm Boy Luke Skywalker. Now the reason I despise this figure so much is because of this cloth. Some of the figures, the cloth works alright, but on him I think it looks terrible. I really do not like this cloth on him. The material is just too thick, and it's really thin material, but still it's too thick for this type of figure. It just looks too bulky. It just doesn't look right. Now they sculpted his outfit, and I think it looks alright. It's not too bad. I think it would have been much worse if they would have made this out of cloth. So I think they should have went with this and made it out of plastic as well. It could have been a flexible plastic, but that just does not look good to me at all. I really don't like it. I think the main thing is the folds. Like especially like seeing like this figure in Rey, you can see all the folds in there. If they would have made her outfit out of cloth, none of those folds would have been there and it wouldn't have looked as realistic. And I think that's a big problem with this, because if you see pictures of him wearing this, there's lots of fold and wrinkles in it. But here there's just not very many because the material is just too thick and the figure's too small. It just doesn't have the folds. Yeah, that's my main gripe with this one. The face, I think the face could have been better just because the first Luke, the pilot Luke there from the first series, they painted his face. And I think that made it look so much better. But this one, because it's not painted, it just doesn't work for me. I don't think it's as bad as some of the other Lukes, but I don't like it. Number 4 is the Tauntaun. Now, I was really happy that they were making a Tauntaun when I first heard about it, but the problem is when I actually got one, I'm like, what the hell? Like, some of the ones for the 3 3/4 scale that they made look better than this. Like, it just looks like a little kid's toy, like compared to the rest, which look more like maybe adult collector type toys. With all the detail, this one, like the fur just looks very cheap and half-assed. And like, it seems like there should be some texture or something on this saddle, a little more detail to it. The face isn't too bad. Like, I like the way they did the horns. They did get a decent amount of wrinkles and detail on the face. So the actual head isn't too bad. Maybe these straps could have been a little better. I think the main problem is the fur all over this. The fur just is not good. That's definitely my main gripe on this. If they would have sculpted the fur better, I think I wouldn't have so much of a problem with this. Also, he doesn't stand up very well. Like, you get him stand up by himself, but his legs seem kind of loose. And he's supposed to hold figures. I mean, I could get him to stand up holding a figure, but imagine over time it'd fall. So he doesn't really want to stand up right now. Now the Wampa came out pretty much the same time as this Tauntaun, and look at the way they did the fur here. The fur looks really nice, kind of like the way they did Chewbacca, which I imagine some people probably have some problems with Chewbacca, but I think they did really nice fur on this Wampa. Really detailed, really textured. Like the blood they painted on there. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think it's pretty well done. There's different tones. You can see it's like white goes down to yellow. Like, it's not just one solid color. He's pretty much just all this one gray color until you get up to the face. So I really think they half-assed this Tauntaun. I'm not pleased with it. Number 3 is Darth Vader. Now, one of the main reasons this figure bothers me so much is because he's Darth Vader. This figure should be awesome. And I imagine to some people it probably is. There is a lot that's good about this figure, but there's so many gripes that I have that bother me that I just don't consider him worthy of a Darth Vader figure. I'd say the number one thing that bothers me is the helmet. Because they made the helmet removable, which that is a cool feature, that you can remove the helmet and he's got his head under there. But because they did that, they ended up sculpting his mask weird and it just doesn't look right. And you can see that if you buy the Emperor's Wrath Darth Vader and paint it black, it looks a little more accurate. It is a different sculpt, and it looks a lot closer to how he's supposed to look in a movie than this one does. He also made his island is very brown. I mean, they could have a little bit of a brown tint to them, but it should be mostly black. These just look too brown. Another problem I have with this is this part here just looks like a big giant diaper. I mean, that Darth Vader does have this piece on his outfit, but it's just too big and bulky here. It looks silly and it stands out too much, I think. Also, these pieces of cloth here, that's another example of cloth I don't like. I like that the cape is cloth, but, and like maybe down here. And it's kind of hard because I think this piece should connect and be part of that. And it might look weird if this was plastic and this was cloth. I don't know. Maybe this could be plastic, just like that up here. I just think it looks weird. Like I said, the figure's not horrible. I mean, he's got really nice articulation and everything. I really like that about him. It is cool he can remove the helmet, but I'd rather his helmet not be removable if the helmet was sculpted better. Also, this chain too. This chain is way too big. It's like in the movie, the chain is very tiny, but this is just too much. I can imagine some people would be like, Darth Vader has a chain around his neck? What? Because he does, but you can barely see it in the movies. Now, if you compare it to the Bandai Darth Vader, I think they did a better job on this one with the proportions and everything. I think like his little piece down here looks better. And you see he's got the plastic, like, I don't know what you call this piece, this cloth here. It's plastic here and here, and I think that looks better. I don't like the plastic cape all that much. I mean, it looks all right, I guess, except for up here. It just really takes away from the cloth appearance. So I think this could use a cloth cape. But I think they got the helmet closer. Well, they definitely got the helmet closer than this one. And I do like that it also comes with a fist hand, because I love Darth Vader's fist in the air hand. Looks really cool. So, yeah, like I said, I got multiple issues with this figure, so that's why he's on my list. Number 2 is the Emperor. Now, this is another figure that really bothers me because of his cloth. I think it looks all right on his head, like around his hood area. It looks pretty cool the way it folds down. But here, it just looks bad. Like, it doesn't show all the wrinkles that it should be showing. They would have been sculpted in there if this was plastic, but with this cloth, it just looks too smooth. It doesn't look right. I also think he really should have came with some electricity. What's cool about a lot of the earlier series is they came with some accessories that were pretty cool, and he didn't come with anything. I really think he should have came with electricity. That was one of the coolest accessories that came with one of the 3 3/4 scale Emperors. I mean, not all of them gave electricity, but the ones that did, it was pretty awesome. I think that would have made the Black Series, which you're paying $20 for, would have made this figure a little better. But I still think he should have had a sculpted robe. He just would have worked out better, I really think. And my pick for the number 1 worst 6-inch Star Wars Black Series figure is Jedi Luke Skywalker. Now, my main reason for picking this figure as number 1 is that Jedi Luke Skywalker is one of the figures I really wanted them to make the most when the first series came out. I'm like, ooh, I can't wait till they make Jedi Luke Skywalker. That'd be awesome. But then they come out with them, and it's like, I mean, that face I do not think is good at all. It really pales in comparison to that X-Wing Luke, which I still think is the best Luke they've made. But this one, yeah, they didn't paint his face. They painted his eyes, but they just look too big. They're weird. And I just don't like it. And his body doesn't look right. It looks so frail. Like he looks... To me, it looks like this is Eric Foreman from that 70s show. What's his name? Topher Grace? It looks like him dressed up as Luke Skywalker. He just looks like a real skinny little dude, and it really annoys me a lot. Hasbro also made these cheap figures you can find at like dollar stores, like Family Dollar or whatever. This one almost looks better. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the shoulders. Because of the articulation, this one's shoulders just looks scrawny, I guess. They don't have that sort of like ball joint type articulation, so it doesn't mess the shoulders up. It's got a terrible face still. I'd almost say this face might just be worse by a little bit. But just looking at him standing side by side, I think this one looks a little better. I mean, it is a statue. I mean, he's got no leg articulation at all. But I don't know, I think they could have hid the articulation somehow, made it look a little better, like the X-Wing Luke back there. So this is a figure I really hope they remake someday. I doubt they ever will, but it'd be cool if they did, because it's a real disappointment to me. And also have one dishonorable mention, and that would be Constable Zu Vo. Now, the figure isn't that bad. This is a good example too. They sculpted his outfit here, and the wrinkles in detail look nice. If they would have made that out of cloth, that wouldn't look as good. The reason he is dishonorable mention is because he's not even in the movie. They made a figure of a character that's not even in the movie. And I get that they didn't know at the time. Like, there was all this art, and lots of people seen the art and pictures of this character and thought that he was going to be in a movie, so that's why they made a figure. But it just sucks we got this guy instead of one of the characters that was actually in the movie. So that's why I'm picking him as my dishonorable mention. So that's my picks for the top 5 worst Star Wars Black 6-inch series figures. So do you agree? Do you disagree? I imagine a lot of people are going to have their own opinions on which ones are the worst, but this is my picks. Well, this is Mr. Evilcheese. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Oh, damn it, man! You see them other pictures there? Why don't you click on one of them to see the video? Or you could subscribe, Nate. Oh, damn it!